Hey y'all, welcome back to Coffee with Cory. I'm your host, Cory Jackson, singer, songwriter, coffee lover and drinker, and part-time fly fishing student, learning patience, one cast at a time. Today's episode is called Fishing in Murky Water, Trusting Through Uncertainty. As I have started learning how to fly fish, Kevin, who you'll meet here in just a second, asked me something simple. Do you have patience? Which we even had that conversation yesterday. And I said, yes. And he said something along the lines, good, because that's what it will take. From my recent experiences, fly fishing is a lot like life, especially when the water is murky. You can't always see what's below the surface. You don't always know what's coming next. And sometimes the lines get tangled. Sometimes you cast and nothing bites like it did for me last week. But in those moments, it's less about control and more about trust. And honestly, I think trying to enjoy the moment and, hey, get some practice in. My guest today is a friend of mine, Kevin Humphrey. He is a passionate fly fisherman and someone who's been through his own journey of trusting through uncertainty. We'll talk about how fly fishing has taught him life lessons and how he's applied those lessons in the harder, messier, or unclear seasons of life. Kevin, man, it's such a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you so much for doing this. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, and thank you so much for asking me to do this. New experience.
Yeah, well, man, thanks for jumping on here with me last night, even to get everything worked out. I enjoyed even just getting to visit with you last night. I was like, oh, man, we need to save some of this for tomorrow.
Technology, ain't it great?
Yeah, it's something. It's crazy what it can do. Well, man, you said you're drinking coffee. I've got my coffee as well. What are you drinking?
Well, it's just a Columbia coffee and a little bit of cream.
That's I love Columbia coffee. Are you drinking caffeinated or decaf?
Right now, I'm drinking decaf. I've got enough energy going. I don't need to falsely enhance it.
You know, I recently switched from caffeinated to decaf, mainly because of what your wife, Kathy, had told me with, which I know she's a speech therapist, and like all the stuff that she was telling me as I've been going through my journey. And I'm telling you what, man, I think I still love caffeinated coffee, but I can tell it doesn't get me jittery, which I appreciate not having that. So.
Yeah, I like a good cup of coffee, and my family and friends, if they don't know what to get me, they get me a bag of whole bean coffee. So,
oh man, you just can't beat it. It's so good. I was actually going to say, this is my first cup of coffee today, and I'm like, man, there's just nothing better than that first sip. It's just, so good.
That's a cool looking cup you got there.
Hey, yeah, I'm gonna have to get you one, man.
Yeah, that's nice.
There we go. Yeah, coffee with Cory, y'all. I'll get you one. So, well, y'all, I hope this conversation to everybody that's listening out there encourages you, and it reminds you that even when the water's murky, God is still in it, and He is with you. So, Kevin, today I wanted to just dive in here. I would love to hear. I know some of your story, but I would love for you to start wherever you'd like, for our audience to just get to know you a little bit. And we'll just start right here.
Okay. Well, let's see. I guess shortly after, and again, this is a ways back. I'm going to throw a fairly broad net,
man,
to kind of give you a perspective. And shortly after my wife and I, Kathy, got married, we moved to Colorado in 1975. That was a great experience.
Oh, I bet. What part?
Colorado Springs. I was in the United States Army. And,
okay. I didn't know that.
So Uncle Sam moved us, and we ended up in Colorado Springs, which is a beautiful city.
It is.
And I was at Fort Carson. And at that time, we met a couple at a church that we were going to, Rob and Anita, and Rob fly fished. But being in the military and not really knowing what was coming my way, I didn't really take the time Although now, looking back, we were in the perfect area to fly fish.
Yeah.
Every summer now, we go back and fly fish in Colorado in the Rockies.
Okay.
And so, although at that time, being in the military, being on call, everything else, there was just no way I could have thrown in something else. It was already crazy enough. And so unfortunately, due to the military, I didn't have any time to learn how to fly fish, to go up into the mountains and into the lakes and rivers and everything. I wish now, in retrospect, we should have bought some property out there because it was dirt cheap at the time, but it's not now. But anyway, since that time, we've kept the friendship and with Rob and Anita. And so in 1978, we left Colorado, and oh gosh, a number of years had passed. We'd moved around, lived in different places, working construction after leaving the military.
Yeah.
And then after doing my undergraduate degree and my master's degree, teaching back down in Florida, and we were fishing there, but not fly fishing. And so basically, my wife and I have fished all our lives because we're both from Florida.
Right.
But it wasn't ever fly fishing. It wasn't for pleasure. It was actually because part of our family, it was helpful to have extra food. So we would fish to feed our family, as young kids.
Yeah.
So after I finished that we moved from Columbia, Missouri, where I finished my PhD, which was really, to be honest with you, Cory, when I was in high school, getting out of high school was my plan. I
Yeah.
had I had no goals whatsoever to go any farther than that.
Yeah.
And then after God got a hold of me and my wife and I got saved, she got saved first. And then it was torture for a short period of time, and then I got saved. But I didn't plan on going back to school whatsoever, and then ended up. Uncle Sam paid for my 4 years of my undergraduate, and then I stayed and did my master's, and then that was it. I thought that was over,
Mm-hmm.
and then had another goal, which I didn't expect, of doing my PhD. And so when I finished my PhD, and not to be bouncing around, but
No, this is great.
and I don't have any excuse because this isn't caffeine, but after finishing my PhD, we moved to Jonesboro in 1993.
Okay.
And so there's quite a few years in between. But a couple of years here, trying to get my footing, trying to be a good husband, a good dad, good at my job at the university, teaching and working with students and everything. I didn't think I had time, but I needed something.
Mm.
I needed something to kind of unwind, uh, to be able to do something that helped me refresh myself because
Mm-hmm.
I was always teaching and working with students and that was a fun job, but I needed something to help me to refresh myself a little bit. And so I thought, I think I'll start fly fishing. I heard a lot
Yeah.
about it. I'm landlocked now in the middle of the United States. And I thought, well, I think I'll do that. But I knew that it was going to take some learning.
Yeah.
I didn't know what, because I had a lot of habits from the other kind of fishing. There's a difference. And I don't put down spin fishing or bait casting or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. But there's a lot of difference between fly fishing and that.
Right.
And so I knew I had to learn. There's a learning curve that I wanted to shorten because I felt like, well, my wife says learning how to fly fish and getting out of fishing is a whole lot cheaper than a psychiatrist. So, so I started to learn how to do it. And it took me a while.
Yeah.
and not to put this on you, but it took me a while to learn the casting part, to learn all the other things that go with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really neat sport and art.
Yeah.
And so I started, and then I didn't know this, but our friend back in Colorado, he fly fished tide flies and built fly rods.
Oh,
So
wow.
Kathy contacted him and asked him if he would build me a special rod, for a gift for my birthday. And so at that time, fly rods were 2-piece. Now they're
Okay.
4-piece, 5-piece, 6-piece travel rods.
Right.
There's all kinds of stuff. So I got this gift of this beautiful sage rod that he had built on a sage blank. And it was just beautiful. I still have that rod. I still
Wow.
occasionally fish with it just for nostalgia of feeling the rod. But at that time, it was a great rod. It still is. And so I guess a question of that's kind of what got me into it. But what got me hooked in fly fishing was once I got out there and finally started to figure it out, finally learned enough about paying attention to what was going on around me. In a way that kind of also deals with life, you know,
Right.
being there in the moment, because so many times in life we are there doing something, but our mind is somewhere else onto the next thing.
Right.
And you're not really fully there. And so I found out that fly fishing, you had to be there. You
Mm.
had to be aware of the current. Because where I go fishing here in Arkansas is the North Fork, and the Little Red. And they're all three tailwaters.
Yeah.
So if you're not paying attention and that dam starts generating, that water will come up fast, and so you have to be careful. So you're paying attention to what's going on, the different currents, the insects,
Yeah.
the humidity, the barometer. Believe it or not, the barometer, barometric pressure affects
Yeah.
fish. And I was definitely wanting to catch fish. So that helped me more than I realized. It helped me unwind. It helped me immerse myself into that because I was there. I mean, I was
Mm-hmm.
fishing. I was doing what I felt like I needed to do or wanted to do. And after a while, I got the hang of it. I'm not saying I'm a absolute expert at it, but I really enjoy it. And hopefully
Yeah.
I can share that enjoyment with you and you take it and run with it. But it helped me be more patient.
Mm.
It helped me to observe what was going on around me. It helped me to listen. Um, at that time, listening to the birds, and oh gosh, when you're standing in the river and a bald eagle swoops down and flies down the center of the river, or deer running across, or some of the gorgeous fish, those things just kind of make your senses in overload, but you learn to just back up and appreciate it.
Right.
And that kind of just transferred over, uh, into my life, that help enhance my life.
Mm.
Um, and my faith, actually.
Yeah.
Because Kathy would say that when I would come home, um, I was more at peace, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit easier going. And of course, like I said, it's a bit cheaper than a psychiatrist, but uh, it helped out a lot. And I
Yeah.
enjoyed it tremendously.
Yeah. Well, that's
Um,
awesome, man. I was actually fishing last week. We have a thing called, or a creek called Indian Creek that runs real close to our house here.
mhm.
And I've been hitting some different spots just around town. And I'm really, right now, I'm just going out there, not necessarily to catch, but just to practice my
To
cast.
practice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it was so peaceful and so quiet, which I love the river and I love hearing just the water move. And
Yep.
there was a deer just walking right behind me across the creek, didn't even see me. I was so quiet, I guess. I was like, I figured I was pretty loud because I was over there, you know. But I'm like, I love that you shared that. Like, it just the sounds and immersing yourself in the scene and the beauty that really is just all around us if we just take the time to notice it.
Yeah, and oftentimes that's the case. We're so busy going from point A to point B, getting a job, getting to work, going to the
Yeah.
grocery store, do cutting the grass, cutting the
Oh yeah, I
grass.
did that last night.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
And that's life. That's life.
Right.
But it's nice to sometimes appreciate what else is going on that we don't notice because we are busy.
Yeah.
And that forces me when I get out and fish, get out and walk the banks, or use my raft and float down the river with a friend. That helps me reconnect with what I think is healthy for
Oh yeah.
me. I'm sure we can get into unhealthy things,
Right.
that aren't good and that drive us nuts. Those are healthy things.
Yeah. Well,
And,
Kevin, oh yeah, go ahead.
no, that's okay. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna change the subject. Well, not change the subject fully, but I was gonna ask you what's one of your favorite spots to cast a line and clear your head?
Well, I will be honest with you. It's going back to Colorado, although
Okay.
we have a lot of beautiful water here in our state. Seriously,
Yeah.
and some massively large fish. But I would say, you know, s- up in Colorado, up at some of the higher mountain lakes that we'll go to, um, and just sitting back and watching what's going on. Kathy and I, in fact, Kathy and I fish together all the time, and she loves it, which is very helpful. I think I'm a very blessed man to have a wife that loves to fly fish.
That's awesome, man.
But it's that's a pretty nice place.
Yeah.
But I do love where we are here. It's different. The rivers are different, but the environment is nice in Colorado, up in the mountains.
Yeah.
But in Arkansas, great water too. You know, and
Right.
it's nice to be able to take friends and family out in that.
Yeah. What's your like go-to spot in Arkansas?
I'll go up to the North Fork
Okay.
and float on our raft in that about 4 miles, 4 point something miles from the North Fork to the White.
Okay.
And it's a blue, if you want to call it a blue ribbon river, it really is.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how many they count fish per mile. I don't know what that is, but
Okay.
it's pretty good. I think Arkansas looks at pounds per mile, whereas other states look fish per mile. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but it's and it's a 2.5 hour drive from us, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's not too bad.
no, and if I go to the spring, it's only an hour and a half.
Right.
So it's a process that you realize that you have to do that in order to get to that benefit,
Mm-hmm.
or being able to get out and relax, and so it's worth it though. And for most of I guess learning how to slow down and be patient and things like that. For most of my adult life, I have been, and I don't know how I turned into this, but uh, I've been kind of goal oriented, task
Yeah.
oriented, and I married a woman that is the same way. So we work really well together because if we have to say do something at home and paint a room or something like that, boy, we know how to do it. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll be cutting trim and painting walls and laying out drop cloths and everything, and we just mesh really well because we're both that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's but it has taught me how to slow down and how to relax, especially now once I've retired. I used to work a full-time job teaching at the university and come home and work all around the house and do all that stuff. Now
Yeah.
I pace myself a little bit more, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, man,
but it
let's.
did it has made me more patient, more relaxed.
Yeah. How many years did you do in the army?
I was in there 6.
6. Awesome.
six
Well, man,
years.
thank you for your service. I didn't
Sure.
realize you were in the Army, so
Yeah. It was, we got married in 1973. We're still married. So we're getting ready to celebrate our 52nd year of
man,
marriage.
congratulations.
And I guess I was in what they consider the Vietnam era.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't go to Vietnam, but I was in the Vietnam era.
Yeah.
I had
Well,
friends that went to Vietnam. So,
yeah.
but,
Well,
and again, I think maybe the military taught me some things about discipline,
oh, I'm sure.
uh, you know, and I know that's part of what we were going to talk about is, learning patience and learning new
Right.
skills. And, but I think that helped me out. That got me kind of started from being a young man that didn't know a whole lot of what I was going to do to changing that.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Well, and I was just going to backtrack a little bit because I wanted to just hit that you were in the Army and how long, but you also, just for those that do know or maybe don't know, you were at Arkansas State University, which that's where I
mhm.
graduated from college. Go Indians, go Red Wolves.
Yes. Yeah, I was there. Starting my 30th year. I was in the College of Agriculture.
Yeah.
And most of the students knew me because I had a fly rod carrier on the top of my vehicle. And,
You were the cool
and I,
professor.
yeah, and I actually taught a fly fishing class there with the PE department for a little while,
Very cool.
just for fun. It was one of those life enhancement classes.
Yeah.
And so, but when they started trimming back and cutting off what they called non-essential classes, and in a way, I kind of looked at fly fishing as being non-essential, but I have changed my mind that it is a little essential because you need a break
Right.
occasionally. I'm not against work, believe me.
Right.
I think that's something my parents instilled and my wife's parents instilled in her, or at least her mom, was, being a good worker, good hard worker.
Yeah.
And so, but, I felt that's okay. So I've taught fly fishing and taught at the university for a while, fly fishing, but I retired going into my 30th year. I figured I had enough fun there. So
Got to have some more fun in another way, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
awesome, man. Let's continue to dive into this theme here.
Sure.
I wanted to just backtrack on that and just kind of catch people up with that, and also say go Red
Sure.
Wolves, go Indians, all that. um, but can you share a time in life when you were walking through maybe something murky, a season of uncertainty or waiting, and how did your faith or values perspective play into that time?
Well, that's a great question. And one, looking back over my life, I don't think I have experienced anything that's out of the ordinary or uncommon to others.
Mm,
But I will say, and I believe, and I don't say this in a cavalier way, I believe loss is part of life,
yeah.
unfortunately. And so, if you live long enough, you will experience heartbreak of losing somebody that you love, and that's really what I was thinking of. When you ask that question, there's one thing that really comes to my mind where it was hard. I mean, my wife and I have lost all of our parents, you know,
Mm,
on her side and my side. Um, and we've lost friends. Um,
yeah.
and so there's plenty of that, which again is part of life, unfortunately. But, you know, and I've been told that nobody gets off this island alive.
Right.
So that's just the way it is. But there's more to that than just, you know, you're gone and that's it. There's more to it
Hmm.
because of our faith. And we know that. And we've experienced that. And I'm the youngest of five siblings.
Mm,
I've got two older brothers and myself and a brother right over me, and then our sister is in the middle. And so that's the thing that got me, that I look back on and I think, what was the toughest time, that I really had to, my wife and I walked through that she walked it through that with me.
Yeah.
And I also got an opportunity to walk through that with her when
Wow.
she just recently, last year and a half, 2 years, she lost her brother,
Yeah.
which was her last living sibling. So she's the last of her family, her
Mm.
immediate family. Her mom and dad are gone, her two brothers are gone, and that's her. It's it. It's her.
Yeah.
And so that was a tough time for her. So we walked together with that. But what really got me was, all of this time with, learning patience and making decisions and moving around the United States and being in the military and everything else. When I lost my sister, that hit me hard.
Mm.
We were close, calling each other when we got a chance to, having coffee together. And I guess she was around 45, coming up on her 45th birthday. I think that was about right. She got saved.
Mm.
And Kathy and I had somewhat to do with that because we prayed for her for a lot. We prayed for all of our family because once Kathy and I got married in 1973, it wasn't long that we both got saved. She was the first one and I followed.
Yeah.
But we started praying for our family and especially for my sister. And so, and when she got saved, that just dramatically changed her life.
Mm.
She was venturing into all kinds of things like Eastern mysticism and everything else,
Mm.
and just couldn't find it, what was
Yeah.
going on in her life. And that helped her tremendously, and that was exciting. But coming up to, if I have the sequence of life right, she turned 45, and then shortly after that, she got saved, and then getting close to her 50th birthday, she got diagnosed with breast cancer.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
for a lot of people, that's a death sentence
Right.
at that time. Well, she fought it, and she was a fighter, and she took that and aggressively fought it. And but shortly after that, um, she got diagnosed again, but with ovarian cancer, and
Oh
she
my
fought
goodness.
that. And but after the breast cancer, I called her one day, and Kathy and I were getting ready to take a summer vacation, and we were going to go out west. And I thought, I don't know how long we're going to have our sister. Hopefully, she'll beat all of this. That was the first time when she had the breast cancer. Before we found out she had ovarian cancer, and I said, "Hey, we're getting ready to plan a summer vacation, Kathy and I and our two kids. And I know your husband Pete works a lot, and so I'm not asking him to take off work unless he can. But I said, why don't you think about it and call us back, a couple days or whatever, and see if you want to go with us to go out west." And she said, "Oh, okay." So hung up the phone, and wasn't an hour. She called us back, and she goes, "I want to go." And Pete's okay with it, that her husband.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, but there's a condition." And Kathy and I looked at each other, and I said, "There's the condition of you have to tell us some of the things you've always wanted to do if you went out west, so we can build that into the plan."
Wow.
And because Kathy and I didn't know how long we were going to have her.
Right.
So um, anyway, she said, "Well, I've always wanted to see the Grand Canyon."
Mm.
Check. And I've always wanted to do horseback riding in the Rockies, and I wouldn't mind doing whitewater rafting and fly fishing. I'd like to try that because I was trying to help her learn how to fly fish too at the time. In fact, I was I worked with the people that helped bring Casting for Recovery to the state of Arkansas.
Oh
And
wow.
Casting for Recovery, you probably know,
Just a little bit, but
is
yeah, tell about it. Yeah.
it's for women that have been diagnosed with or in some stage of breast cancer or cancer, but mainly breast cancer. And they teach them how to fly fish, how to tie flies, and different things like that. It's a retreat for the state of Arkansas. There's a bunch of retreats all over the country, but Arkansas has one. And and what they do is those women that come to it, they generally have 15 women, and it's for free. It's a total weekend. You just get yourself there. You get lodging, food, the lessons of fly fishing, exercise lessons for recovery of breast cancer and things like that. And then on that Sunday, you go out to the river and actually apply those skills. And I've been for the last 13 years a river guide for Casting for Recovery.
That's so
And
cool.
and so it's really cool. And I think I always get more out of it than I think they get, because it's
Yeah.
just a wonderful thing to be able to help a lady learn how to fly fish when she's in the middle of that struggle of her life.
Mm. Did y'all
And
discover that when you were in Colorado? Was that
no, I met a lady that had been working with the national office,
okay?
and she was at one of the fly fishing shows here in Arkansas, and I started talking to her and found out that Arkansas didn't have one. And so my wife and I, Kathy, we did whatever we could do to help bring that here, or be a part of bringing Casting for Recovery Arkansas retreat here to Arkansas. And so it finally happened. Um, and
That's
so
so cool.
I've been working with that. But, that's something that, so anyway, we went on that summer trip, and it was a blast. I mean,
Oh, I
if I've
bet.
heard her say it one time, it was 1,000 times. Oh, I can't believe! Look at that! We came up on the edge of the Grand Canyon, she was just blown away. I mean, all of it. Took her fly
Mm-hmm.
fishing on the Dream Stream in Colorado, which is a beautiful place. It's just a meandering oxbow river through a pasture, through a
Okay,
valley,
really?
actually,
Yeah.
through a valley. If you ever get a chance to go there, Corey, do it.
Man, I definitely want to. I'm like, we're only 8 hour drive from Colorado, like, from
Yeah, not
Kansas City.
much.
I'm like, it's so
Oh yeah,
close.
yeah. But so it was great. But
Wow.
to get back to that thought, um, not only then after that trip, because it stressed me out when we took her whitewater rafting, because she had double mastectomies,
Mm.
and when they do that, it's loss of muscle strength and loss of some muscles, and so I was really, so Kathy called the rafting company and said, "Oh, no, 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 we've done this before. We'll put her in the middle on one of the sides, and she won't even have to row if she doesn't want to." But I wanted her to experience it, and so did she. So she
Right.
experienced that. She experienced fly fishing, horseback riding, the Grand Canyon. It was just fantastic.
Man, that's
Um,
incredible.
and then she got diagnosed with ovarian, and then she
Mm.
fought that for a couple of years, and then she got diagnosed with peritoneal cancer, which is a cancer that infects all of the tissue that surrounds all of your internal organs,
Oh my goodness.
and that took her. I
Yeah.
mean, so during that time, it was hard.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I really grieved. I guess I really grieved her loss because I loved her so much. But
Absolutely.
um, I still knew that she had that hope in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
She was saved. She was the sweetest spirit fighting through all of that. It's just unbelievable
Oh
how,
my goodness, man. She was
you
a
know,
fighter.
oh yeah,
Um,
unbelievable.
yeah.
Um, but I had the opportunity, although I don't know, maybe I'm typecast, but I've said way too many eulogies. I guess maybe because I'm the only sibling of the four remaining that can actually pull it together and talk. During that time, I don't know. I Earlier on in my life, I was pretty shy. I guess what
Yeah.
broke me is a speech class at the university.
Man, I
But
was the same way. I was shy when I
oh
was,
man,
still
but
have that tendency, but
yeah, but that was, and I know, she had committed her life. She was converted totally to Jesus, um, but that was really hard. Even
yeah.
though I know that, when you do that, he's going to take care of you. But it doesn't always work out the way we think it should.
Right.
And it didn't. I would have loved to, and I know my wife would have loved to spent more time as adults with your siblings. Um, that just didn't work out the way we would hope. But I
Right.
think having that hope in Christ, that just kind of strengthened Kathy and I pulling together in that deep sadness.
Yeah.
That was one of those times when I what can you say?
Right.
Um, you work through it, you walk through it with family members. The memories that we had of that out west trip, the photographs, her smile, and oddly enough, my kids were razzing me a lot because they said, "Golly, you and your sister are so much alike." You know, uh, they would say, "You don't even like to go through the drive-through." And one time she sat up when we were on the road, and she goes, "Oh, I hate going through drive-throughs." So it was so funny,
That is
but
so funny, man.
those are good memories.
Right.
But uh, and I'm so thankful for Kathy
Right.
during that time. And then a little bit later down the road, she went through the same thing with her brother, and so that was just having that faith,
Yeah.
not knowing really, but believing, and just holding on to that, knowing that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, and
Absolutely.
and and those times, well, anyway, it's just part of life.
Right.
And but I guess that my faith and our in that walk was knowing that His promises are true,
Yeah.
even though we can't see all the way down the road.
Right.
Uh, so,
Well, man, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Um,
got a little choked
that
up.
means a
Sorry.
lot. No, no, there's no need to be sorry. And I know that blessed me, and I know it's going to bless so many other people listening. So thank you for sharing that, Kevin. I know those are some amazing memories there. Man, what do you think? Um, we we can all learn from the idea of like trusting the process, especially
Hmm.
when we can't see the outcome. And we've talked about that a little bit today already. Um, so what do you think you've learned from that idea of maybe just trusting the process?
Well, let me say that you know that statement, trusting the process, means having the confidence in the steps you're taking
Mm,
to achieve a long-term goal.
yeah.
Even if immediate results aren't visible, even if you don't know the end results. So trusting the process, and having the confidence to take those steps, um, even if you don't know what the end product is, it involves accepting the journey, acknowledging the effort,
Mm,
and believing in the eventual outcome.
yeah.
Um, and there's a lot of things in life, and fly fishing that are the same way.
Right.
Um, you know, and so brief history, small. Listen,
Yeah.
that's like when you know my wife and I decided, and we do these things. I say my wife and I, I'm an individual, but I've been married to her so long that we talk everything out. We pray everything out.
Mm,
And when we decided, okay, I got my master's, I got my bachelor's, my master's, and I started teaching in public school. And there came a time when I was thinking about, well, maybe what I'd like to do is maybe become what they call a teacher educator. And that's a person who has a PhD, who teaches at the university, who teaches other teachers to
oh
become
wow.
teachers. So I was a lead teacher educator at Arkansas State, where I would help students learn how to be a teacher. And
Right.
so when we decided that the only way I'm going to be able to do that is get a PhD. I can't teach at a university at that time. Things are different now, but at that time, if you wanted to be a teacher educator, you had to have so many years of teaching experience. Then you had to get a PhD. And so, to be honest with you, that was a 3 to 4 year projected, you know, experience.
Wow.
And again, you know, we weren't 100% sure what that meant. All I know is I had to meet the criteria and then step up and get accepted at a university and go for
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And so that was okay. I got that. I got that taken care of, but I had to stay the plan. And that was a joint effort between my wife and I and our 2 kids because it involved all of us.
Yeah.
The first thing I had to do is move from Florida, a block and a half away from the beach where I taught, all the
That's
way to
hard.
Missouri,
Yeah.
to Columbia, Missouri. That was like massive. But we were 100% sure that we were doing what God wanted us to do. We just
Mm,
didn't have all the answers.
right.
And so that it was a family affair.
Yeah.
And so we did that.
Wow.
We picked up, moved, you know, our family to Columbia, Missouri. I started the PhD program. I taught, so I was a research assistant and a teaching assistant as well. So I taught classes at the undergraduate level, and I wrote several textbooks that were used in the Missouri classrooms,
Wow.
and then did my PhD.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, we felt like we were on track with our lives, even though there were tough times. I mean, financially and everything else. But and we still have, that was 30 some years ago. We still have dear friends from that town.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And so that was one of those things that we knew, okay, we we had an idea of what it took, but we didn't know all of it. So we
Mm-hmm.
had to walk it through. We had to learn a lot as we went because a totally different new town, new friends that we didn't know
Right.
anybody, trying to find a good church. All those things that are involved in life, we were doing it together, my wife and I and our 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And it was experience. It really, really was. And so to get back to your thought on this, following the process, it's kind of similar to fly fishing
Mm.
in that I didn't know anything about fly fishing, but I got to a point in my life where I felt like I needed some kind of release valve,
Mm-hmm.
like we were talking about earlier. So I started learning how to fly fish. Um, my my wife and I both, when we were kids, grew up in Florida fishing, but not fly fishing. So I understood fly fishing, but I had a lot of habits that I had to break
Yeah.
because you can't cast a fly rod like you do, a bait fish or a
Yeah.
spin cast. It just doesn't happen. And so I probably went a dozen or more times out fly fishing before I ever caught a fish.
I feel like that's where I'm at. So.
Yeah. And it was because, like, man, what am I doing? And I was trying to figure out, why am I not catching? Well, I had to learn where they were, certain environments, certain positions, high or low in the water, over there near a stream current or whatever. So there's a lot of learning that went on there. And eventually, and I stayed the course,
Yeah.
even though several times I went, actually a dozen or more times I went, didn't catch a thing. Uh, I just stayed the course because I
Yeah.
knew if I was patient, if I worked at it, if I really wanted to do it, I could do it.
Right.
And that's what happened. I learned so much how the environment impacts fishing.
Yeah.
You know, just how fast the current. I had to understand how the water here in Arkansas with the dams, you had to be
Mm-hmm.
careful. So if you were in there totally immersed in what you were doing and not paying attention, and all of a sudden you've got this high water, fast water coming at you, and you're out in the middle of the stream. And that happened to me one time. We were down near Calico Rock,
Yeah.
and a friend of mine named Jay, uh, we were fishing out in it, and all of a sudden we noticed, oh my gosh, the sound changed. Something happened, and what happened was the water coming from the dam that released at the dam on the White River had made it down to us, and that water was traveling fast.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we were in the middle of the river and we had to get over to the bank. Well, in that particular area, there's a lot of that flat rock that has slime on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I were holding on to each other to get across there. And all of a sudden, he slipped on that flat rock. And I grabbed a hold of him and I was trying to pull him up. And I'm standing on the flat rock. And my footing wasn't that good. And all of a sudden, the water, he got down so low and I'm trying to pull him up. The water got so high that it came and went into his waders. So
Oh,
it's like a
man.
balloon,
Right.
and so I did everything I could do to get him up. But in this slow motion scene, this water got into his waders, and all of a sudden I saw this in slow motion, this fly box that he had stuck in his waders come floating up, curled around, and took off down the stream. And it was in slow motion. It was so
Oh,
funny. And for a second there, I thought, oh man, so I got him up, we got across, and we sat down on a tree stump over a dead tree laying on the side. And he says, Kevin, thank you so much. And I said, don't worry about it. And he said, no, you don't understand. He said, I can't swim.
oh my goodness.
And I said, you're kidding me. And he goes, no. And he said, I really appreciate you basically almost, he didn't know, but he said, saving my life. And I said, well, I
Right.
tell you what, though, Jay, when that water went into your waders and it started coming up and your fly box floated out and it was in slow motion, I said, I was thinking for a second, should I grab the fly box and let him go?
Not the flies.
But he said, well, that might have been a good thought because he said, I've got flies in that box that I've had for 20 years. Of course, by then it probably worn out. But I said, well, I'm serious. But no, I said, I wouldn't have done that. But
Right.
I thought of it.
Oh, that's funny. But no,
But,
man, that's a wow, what a story. I mean, I'm
but
sure that was quite scary in the
it
moment.
was, it was because I had, my footing was losing because of that slick rock. So I had to give a little bit with the current to get off the slick rock to get over in the gravel and finally get over.
Yeah.
But it was a strain. So
I
now I
bet.
wade. If I do wade, I have a wading staff. But it's just there's so much about it, um, and just staying with the process.
Yeah.
Um, but barring some of those possibilities of accidents,
Yeah.
um, it just makes you a little bit more intently aware. But the thing is we were so into watching this and that and listening
Yeah.
and fly fishing, and it was cool. But that part was a challenge.
Yeah.
But he got a kick out of that about for a second there, I was going to go for your fly box and let you
I bet
go.
it. Wow, man. Well, is there anything else? I know you've shared a lot here that's just so good, but is there anything else that has surprised you, um, that's or like a surprise like lesson that you've learned with fly fishing that you didn't expect?
uh yeah, I didn't expect that I would appreciate it so much,
Yeah.
and be able to share that with other people, friends. It's not like my faith is very strong and totally committed, but I find that is an enhancement to my faith because I've been able to take friends out. My wife and I have taught all of our grandkids how to fly fish. Whether or
That's
not they'll pick
awesome.
it up or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But and our daughter, our daughter and our son, they fly fish as well, and cats. So it's been a great sport that allows them also to get out. So I never really expected that. I thought maybe, and a lot of times because of my own schedule, it would be a solitary event.
Yeah.
I'd be out on my own fishing,
Right.
and I like that too. But I do like sharing it with friends, like say for example yourself, having the opportunity to get out there together and you know do that together. I never expected that,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, and it's been very fulfilling. Um,
That's
and
awesome.
it's also helped other men
Oh yeah.
that are consumed by their job,
Yeah.
and which is a good thing. It's a good thing to work hard. I have a strong work ethic. My wife
Right.
and I both do. But I and it's not like I'm out skydiving or anything. But
I used to
it
think I'd like
is,
to do that, but
yeah,
I couldn't do
jumping out of a well-running plane. It just sounds like nuts.
that. Well, man, thank you so much just for sharing your story today. I wanted to just a few more things here that I wanted to talk to you about because, man, I'm so thankful for your friendship and just getting out to when I was in Jonesboro a few months ago, us getting to get out and practice, and I look forward to us fishing in the near future together. But man, I know when I was in Jonesboro with you, you were mentioning what you mentioned just a little bit ago, the boat that you like to use. So
Hmm.
I would love for you to like let the audience know what kind of boat that is. I mean, you're making accessories for those that people can get.
Yeah,
And man, even share like where people can follow you on Facebook and get in contact with you with all of that.
yeah. I ended up buying this raft. I've had we've had three rafts because we wanted to get out past crowds because a lot of times the rivers get full of people standing waiting,
Yeah.
and so we can get in and float down. So I found this fellow Dave Scadden, you know, fly paddle sports, bought one of his rafts and turned out to be great. So now I ended up several years later becoming one of his reps, and so I sell his rafts at different fly fishing shows, which is a lot of fun. But then also the one raft that we have now, we have two rafts now, but one of them I found that there's actually it needed a few things to make more room in the raft. So I designed and manufactured through a company here in town. I designed a gear deck that goes on it, and then rod rack, and then so there's a couple of aftermarket accessories that I do, and that's just turned into kind of fun. I didn't really intend on that because after I'd made the first one, my wife goes, "Well, maybe other people would like one of those." And so
Right.
that's what we got into. It's docflyfishinggear.com. And there's a gear deck that goes in the back of the raft, three rod rack, and then a rear leaning bar for that. And I've sold a number of them all over the U.S. Not very many, but enough,
Yeah. Absolutely. I
So
think you were telling me, were
it's
you
been
selling
fun.
one? Yeah. Were you selling one like, I can't remember a few months ago. Maybe it was like, it was up in the Northwest somewhere. I think somebody had reached out to you and they had ordered one from you, but you're
Oh
making
yeah,
it
I've
all right there in Jonesboro,
yeah, it's
Arkansas.
all small business, veteran owned, making them here, all of the parts in Jonesboro,
Yeah.
and then I package them up and ship them out. You know, I did want to say one thing, and I don't want to
Yeah.
interrupt your
No,
thought,
go
but
right ahead.
I wanted to show you something. Uh, Not necessarily final thought on mine, but this is one of my fly boxes. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, wow, man.
Okay, so that's one of my fly boxes.
That's
And
one
the
of them.
yeah, one. The interesting thing is you know, you can see there's a whole lot of flies. There's dry flies. Here's some grasshoppers, and here's under the water, and streamers like smaller fish or whatever.
Yeah,
And the thing is, though, is that's a lot to choose from.
that is.
But that's how life is. There's a lot of things to choose from. And it depends on, so you have a lot of choices here. Should I, to these nymphs, should I do this right here, which is a water walker that floats on the top of the water like a stonefly or something. And so
Wow.
it just depends. And the thing is, though, what you want to understand is even though you have a lot of choices in fly fishing and in life, you want to make sure that you understand that I'm trying to catch fish. So you want to choose wisely the fly that you use.
Mm,
And a lot of times I end up going through several flies before I find the right one that the fish want. Because they
wow.
can be finicky. But
Yeah,
that's kind of like life,
it is.
And so just as a thought, and believe me, there's a lot of flies in here. And they're for all kinds of subsurface, streamer fishing or whatever, but making the right choice in fly fishing. I don't mean to complicate it. It can be complicated, but it's not. But that's kind of like life. And here's the one that my favorite fly. I don't know if you can see that. It's called the elk hair caddis.
Oh yeah.
That's a
I was actually
topwater
going to
fly.
ask what your favorite one was. So,
Yeah, that's my favorite fly, and it's a topwater fly that floats on top of the water. And when they hit it, it's just a blast.
did you make that
But
one?
yeah, yep, and it's got a little blue marker on top of it, so
Yeah.
you can see it better. When it's in the stream with about 100 others that looks just like it. But anyway, that's my thought and how it kind of ties into making decisions in life. But I know you had something else that you were
No, no. Thank you for
thinking about.
sharing. Thank you for sharing that because that's exactly what this podcast was kind of born out of was like, man, how fishing ties into life so much. And we really haven't got to dive into that in the last two episodes. So I appreciate you sharing that. That was awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask what your favorite fly pattern was. Um, so
What's an elk hair caddis?
elk hair caddis, I love that.
Yeah.
And you tie your own flies, which is really cool. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that too. I got a lot to learn.
Well, there's a lot of aspects to it that can be fun.
Yeah. Um, you shared this earlier, and it might be the same one. But what's your go-to rod and reel?
Right now, I have, in fact, the Orvis Helios.
Yeah.
I've got the latest one I got
Hmm.
for my birthday, and it was a nice gift. And the reel, the Orvis Hydros reel. And
Okay.
so I like Orvis. They stand behind their equipment. There's others out there. There's more expensive and there's less expensive. I've fished them all. As
Yeah.
far as less expensive rods, they do fine depending on what you want. But I do like the Orvis rods and the Helios. I think it's just called the Orvis Helios I got.
Yeah.
And it's a 9 foot, 5 weight, 4 piece.
Okay.
And with the reel that matches it, because the whole system that you're making, you have the right size fly rod, reel, line, and everything. It's all weighted out
Right.
to make a complete system,
Yeah.
and it helps. So, and now, that's for freshwater,
Hmm.
but also you could go bigger,
Right.
depending. But that's my go-to is a 5 weight.
Yeah.
And I could pretty much catch panfish, smallmouth bass,
Yeah.
trout. Now, if you're going to go for bigger fish, you could go for a bigger weight. But right now, that's my go-to.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for sharing that. What is? I was gonna ask you another. Oh yeah, yeah. Aren't you an Orvis guide?
I'm in the pro program.
Okay.
It costs $1,000 a year to be an Orvis Pro guide, and I don't have $1,000 a year to give them. That would involve all kinds of marketing and everything that they would do for you. They'd put you in one of
Okay.
their catalogs. And I thought, I thought about it one day that I might do guiding, but that's a lot of work,
That
even though it's
is.
fun.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll guide I'll take my friends.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would do and that's what I do is I'll take family and friends and I'll take them out on the river and guide and float them down the river in the raft and provide lunch and just have fun and enjoy the environment and, you know, not worry about trying to make a living at it.
Well, that's
So,
awesome, man. I love that. And I'm thankful for you showing me the ropes.
well, we're not done. We're not done.
We got a long ways to go, don't we?
Yeah, we got to stick to the process there.
That's right. That's exactly right. Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Man, one other question for you that's kind of in our rapid fire questions. If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh, wow, Corey, I don't want to disappoint you,
No, you won't
but
disappoint.
I don't know.
That's
I mean,
okay.
I like all kinds of music. I like country music.
If
Believe it
you,
or not, I, I don't know. That's
yeah,
a
do
good
you like,
question.
is country music your go-to or folk or,
Sometimes, but
okay,
you know,
just
every
depends.
once in a while I get a mood and I'll open the windows in my, you know, Forerunner driving down the road and listen to some Andre Bocelli.
There you go.
So it just
I
depends
love that.
on, you know, so I like country music. I like Christian music,
Yeah.
contemporary Christian music. Uh, you know, that's, I like all kinds of music except the head banging hard rock.
Yeah.
I like the 70s music because that's most of the time have a lot of memories for that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought about that really seriously. I have no clue.
That's okay, man.
Um,
That's all right. I would have a tough time answering that question because I'm the same way. I love all kinds of music, and it depends on the mood I'm in. So.
yeah, yeah. And you know, we'll put on music in the house. And Kathy and I, when we lived in Kentucky, not to go down another rabbit hole, but
No, go ahead,
Kathy and I,
man.
when we lived in Kentucky, we worked with a young fella that brought in Christian artists,
Oh, wow.
musicians,
Yeah.
and put on concerts. And so we did that for a couple of years when we lived there. So it was called Salt of the Earth Ministries.
Oh,
And
cool.
so we brought in some of the old timers like Michael Card and Lamb and you know John Michael Talbot. Those
Yeah.
are you know way back there. But
Absolutely, man. That's awesome.
but that was a long time ago. But so we music's been a part of our life as well. But I cannot name a theme song for my life.
I had to try. I had to try.
Oh yeah, yeah. I appreciate it. I'll think about it and I'll get back to you on it.
Okay, sounds good. Well, Kevin, dude, it has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this today.
Oh sure.
It has been so fun to just chat with you and dive even deeper into your story. It's blessed me, and I know it's going to bless a lot of people out there as well. As we wrap up here, I did want to say for those of you that maybe you're just listening on just an audio version of the podcast, you are able to watch the video and see the flies and everything that he's been showing us here on YouTube, and to come to Spotify soon. So be sure to check that out. I wanted to kind of wrap things up today by looking at Proverbs 3:5-6, because I felt like that just tied in with what we're talking about today. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. So the beauty, I hope, that I keep center of mind, and I hope helps you, the listener today, or maybe even down the road. In God's presence, in his work, in his plan, they're not, let me rephrase that. God's presence, his work, and his plan are not dependent on clear water. So y'all, thanks for tuning in today. Kevin, thank you again, man. Tell Kathy thank you too.
I will do that.
Guys, final call here. Trust the cast. Embrace the journey, even if the water's cloudy. Or you may even hear us say, yeehaw, amen, let's go. You want to say that, Kevin?
Yeehaw, amen, let's go.
That's right. See y'all in episode 4.